Right. Can you hear me at the back okay? Yeah, everybody can. Good. All right, so my name's Geoff Hindmarch. It's my daughter Sharon. What we want to do is brighten up your lives today and educate you a little bit about what's happening with change on Earth. The world is very screwed up at the moment. I mean, big time. But it's going through a change. Change is going to take us into a different era. A lot of things are going to finish. Is that better? That better? Okay, so I'm going to start again. Okay, so I'm going to brighten up your life. Now, we've got a lot of things to go through. The reason the world is so screwed up at the moment, because we're very controlled. Everybody's been controlled right from the beginning. You're taught things by your parents, by everybody, as this is the way it should be, and it's actually not. You've got to understand how the world works to be able to understand where you're going and what you're supposed to be doing. First of all, let me just get the ego out of the way. There's a lot of ego in the spiritual world, unfortunately, but sometimes you can't help it. If I tell you what Sharon and I do, you're going to think it's ego. So I'll just tell you briefly to get it out of the way. I've been channeling for 40-odd years. Sharon's been around for a lot of those. I'm the old way of doing it. Sharon is the new way of doing it. I've channeled a lot of very famous people. Hitler was one. Ayatollah Khomeini, Lady Di. And that's very hard to believe. I've written 6 books. And every night, Sharon and I channel. And we're told how the world is going to change and so on and so on. Now, everything I'm going to tell you today, you're going to find very hard to believe. I can hear it now. Very hard to believe. So let's just go through it bit by bit. Now, just so I don't teach you how to suck eggs, how many people here believe in aliens? Not bad, about half. How many believe in the devil, Satan? 3. We'll sort you out, no problem. How many of you meditate? That's good. How many of you talk to your guides? Even better. And how many have had a psychic experience? Just about everybody. That's great. That makes mine a lot simpler. Okay, I'm going to tell you things you'll not believe. And it's not ego, I've just done that bit. I'm going to change your understanding of spiritual life. Now, the important thing is you've got to experience it to believe it. I was told a lot of things in the beginning by some very special people. And a lot of them turned out not to be true. Not that they'd fed me the wrong story deliberately. It's what they were told and what they believed. And I found out later it was wrong. So what happens is people tell you something in the best, the best way possible. What they believe is right turns out to be wrong. So you've got to experience things to be able to believe them. I'm going to tell you, for the beginners here, I have to tell you, if a 5-year-old asked you where babies come from, you tell them a certain story. At 12, you tell them a different story, and at 21, they know. I've got to do that because so many things change. You learn the first bit, then suddenly you realize there's another bit to it. It's a bit like I can't teach you about nuclear fission until you learn about maths. It's the same thing. And it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. The more you learn, the more things fit together, the more you understand, and the less people you can talk to. Okay, let's talk about trust, first of all. This is what the world needs, trust. And this is what's gone out of this world, trust. Now, I'll give you an idea. We've got a stall down there, and we've got 6 questions, and we say to people, answer any 3 questions correctly, we'll give you a lifetime membership to a spiritual website. And we invite people to come along, and they look, and they watch the catch. And they back away. And we've had 4 people who ventured all the rest back away this morning because they think there's a catch. That's just the way we've been programmed. I mean, if you go and buy a car and you say, and the advert says it needs a bit of attention, what does that mean? Exactly. If we had truth, we wouldn't have any problems in this world. You wouldn't need police, you wouldn't need courts. You get divorces. Have you been unfaithful? Yes. So, If you had truth, it would solve all these problems. What you've got to do is get back to who you really are. Got to understand who you really are. Now, one question: what happens when a Muslim goes through the pearly gates? Who meets the Muslims when they go through the pearly gates? It's Muslims. Doesn't matter what religion you are. All religions are man-made. We all have our beliefs. So when we get to the other side, we're met by people who match our beliefs. You learn the rest later. Take the bottom one on the left. If I could heal people, or if you could heal people just by touching them once, what would you do for the rest of your life? Touch people. That's what everybody says. That's the wrong answer. Because what's going to happen within a week, you're going to have a queue a mile long that you can't help. They're going to get angry, and they're going to die. The answer is to teach. See, that's a simple example. What you think is right isn't. Needs a bit more thought. Now, imagine you're dying and you believe in the Virgin Mary and you pray to the Virgin Mary for help. Who's going to appear? It's the Virgin Mary. If you pray to Allah, Allah will appear. So on the other side is not all these amazing creatures. It's people like us. We go to the other side. You progress. You come down here, you have so many lives, and then you move on. So if somebody's calling me from the other side and they expect to see the Virgin Mary, I'll show them me as the Virgin Mary. That's how it's done. A lot of people have names for all these beliefs. I'll give you a very good example. Lourdes, where the healing is done in France. What happened there was a young girl. She thought she saw the Virgin Mary. Other people went down. They're sort of pre-programmed, expecting to see the Virgin Mary. And some of them do. So this gets better and better, and more energy is left there, and more people see the Virgin Mary, till eventually that's the place to go. That's where you see the Virgin Mary. It's a creation. Thought is creation. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit about the whole world and how we all fit together and how small we are at the moment. We're going to start with space and time. Now, we live in a solar system. We've got the sun. We've got the speed of light, which is 243,000 kilometers a second. If you switch the torch on, it'll go around the world 7 times in 1 second. The sun is 8 minutes away. Our solar system is huge. But if you look up at the Milky Way, there's 4,984 solar systems. Just in the Milky Way, that's a galaxy. And there are 2 trillion galaxies. Now, I'll try and put that in perspective. Go down to the ocean, pick 1 drop of water, that's Earth. The rest of the ocean is what else is out there. Then take a glass of water, lift it up, see any fish in there? No, doesn't mean there's no fish in the rest. That's how big it is. If we left today at the speed of light, we'd never reach the end. We have light coming towards us from planets that are around millions, billions of years ago. So that's just reaching us now. So we're seeing things that happened billions of years ago. Pretty big picture, huh? Now, all those different planets out there are going through different stages of development. Everyone is different. They've got different gravities, different elements. And where you get different gravities, elements, and so on, you get different shapes and sizes. I mean, if there's a lot of gravity, people are going to be shorter, stronger. There's one planet which will float on top of water. So they're all different. Now let's have a look at our Earth. We've got an awful lot of animals, huge variety, even more fish, even more birds, insects, nature. Millions and millions of different ones. Now multiply that by millions and trillions of different planets. Then you've got senses. Now, we've got 5 senses, which is pretty easy. But bats have sonar. Dogs can hear sounds, which we can't. Dolphins can chatter away to themselves. Insects can talk. Plants can talk, funny enough. Snakes can sense with their tongue. Hawks can see 25 times better than us. Fish swim in shoals. Birds from here, swallows fly back to Siberia every year, 12,000 miles away. So I'm getting to how big this whole universe is. Then we've got all the energies. Lots of different types of energies. You pick up a kitten or a baby, what you do, you love it. You get this beautiful feeling here. That's an energy coming out into that child, or to that puppy. Mothers are very good at this. Any mother can look at a child when it's asleep, decide whether or not it's sick. They sense it, they can pick it up. Anger, fight or flight, different types of healing. It's all those different energies. And then you get emotions. Love, hate, fear, jealousy. You know there are planets without emotions? Civilizations without emotions? Okay, so let's have a look at the overall picture. We have 2 trillion galaxies. They've all got different elements, all evolving at different times, different life forms, different energies, senses, and emotions. Now, is there anybody here who does not believe in aliens? 1. I'm going to evict you very shortly. Okay. Now let's look at our Earth. 8 billion years old at the last guess. We started off with cavemen, and then there was Sumerians, and there was a period between 2 and 3 million years ago where we just can't find any information. And then you've got Egypt, China, the pyramids, all sorts of things. Now, all our recorded history is a lot of information. But if you took the world and took that 8 billion years and you made it into 1 year, all the information that we've gathered would be gathered in the last few seconds of December the 31st. So what's happened on our planet all the time before that? They've just disappeared, come and gone. I'll tell you one fascinating thing that we came across the other day. Climate change. If you look at climate change now, a few years ago they were saying, if it goes up 2 degrees, we're all heading for disaster, etc. And that's because they started keeping records about 20 years ago. If you go back prior to that, a few hundred years, a few thousand years, the temperature's been 3, 4, 5 degrees higher. And it's going up, down, up, down. That's what it does. It's just that we've only measured the last few years when it's going up. Nature takes care of itself. It sorts itself out. Right, so now let's stick with Earth today. 190 countries, hundreds of languages. And this is where it gets interesting. We all agree there's one creator, but how come we've got 600 religions? How come we've got 900 gods and prophets? Recognize those two? Okay. Now, Constantine on the left, he ran a pagan religion, which the Romans were doing, and he saw that the followers of Jesus were becoming more popular. So they decided to get together, they joined forces, and they Christianized the Roman Empire. Now, they did a bit of trading. On the bottom here, you see the Christians wanted Sabbath, a very special day, but the pagans, Sunday was their day. They worshipped the sun god. So that's how Saturday and Sunday came about. And if you look at God, the caricatures of God in those days, it's exactly the same as the pagan one, Zeus. Exactly the same. Because they didn't have photographs in those days. Now, anybody know anything about this photograph on the right? Now, the story behind that, I was told by my mother, so I believed it. In the Vatican, the cloth that Christ was buried in, the shroud, is unraveled once a year, so it could be aired and so on. And a photographer from Durban took 36 shots of the shroud, and that picture appeared on one of them. And if you look in the top left-hand corner, all that grey in the bottom right, that's what the shroud looks like. And that picture appeared on one. And if you search for that picture, you find it's appeared dozens of times over centuries. Now, is that confirmation or not? We're not really sure. And a couple of other things. The Christianization only took place in 325 AD. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote the Gospels 40 to 60 years after the event. None of them were there. Now, you try something that happened 60 years ago, writing about it. You're going to get different stories. I mean, if you take the Soweto riots, Malema would write one story, Barack Obama would write a different story. And a lot of that went on in those days. Now, this is interesting. In Jesus' days, only 2% of people could read or write. And they were the main accountants of their day. They kept stock of trading and so on. Only 2%. But what you had was storytellers. So somebody would witness or hear about a miracle being performed. They spend the rest of their life traveling around Europe, holding shows, recreating this miracle. Of course, you've got the broken telephone. It gets worse and worse and worse, exaggerated, because they want to tell a better story to get a bigger audience in. So you end up with all these stories, and so many are myths. They really are. No, there's been a lot of bad translations as well, because in those days, there was very few words. Nothing like today, only a small percentage. If you take the Virgin Mary, the direct translation, what it meant was, to put it bluntly, she didn't sleep around. She was a good person. I mean, some said she's a prostitute, some said she's a virgin, all sorts of different things, made up by basically the religions, so it would fit in with their whatever they thought. Born in a manger, nearly every house then had a manger. They had a stable, they had donkeys, mangers. It's like a B&B. You stay in a manger, it's normal. We three kings, that didn't appear in the Bible, it's actually three wise men. Noah's Ark went in 2 by 2, that's a myth. It was all sorts of different figures, it wasn't 2 by 2. Then you got things like walk the extra mile. Now what that meant was the Romans were allowed to have Christians as slaves, and they were allowed to get the slaves to carry things for 1 cubit, call it 1 mile. So what people used to say to the slaves is walk the extra mile, get your boss into trouble. And it's the same with turn the other cheek. You could hit a slave with your right hand, but if you turned the other cheek, it was, we'll fight. So they tried to do that. So they've got the wrong meanings. Oh, and hell. Hell is a brilliant one. Anybody believe in hell? Okay, I'll tell you where hell came from. It comes from, and I think it's an Aramaic word, Gehenna, G-H-E-N-N-A. And Gehenna is a rubbish dump outside of Jerusalem that burns all the rubbish. And if you're executed for any crime, you're thrown into this fiery pit to burn for the rest of your life. So the religion's picked up on this. Fear-based mythology. You do anything wrong, you got to burn in this fiery pit. Now, look at this. Killer books of the Bible. 40 times in the Bible, we're asked to kill people. Adultery? No. Kill all witches. That's me gone. Kill fortune tellers. Gone again. Anyone who sins? That's definitely me. Gays? No, I'm okay there. Sons of sinners. Just kill them. Any bride who's not a virgin, kill them. They're at the bottom. Kill anybody who kills anybody else. Covering the bases. Now, in those days, the Roman sport wasn't rugby on a Saturday. It was throwing the Christians at the lions. That only finished probably 450 AD. Now, religions, there's been so many different religions that this is all getting to a point, by the way. We'll tell you the good stuff after this. The Crusades, in the 10th century, Pope Urban II was asked by the Premier of Turkey to get a few people together to help him turf out the infidels, which had been raiding Turkey. So he asked the English knights, he said, I need 6,000 knights to go over there and help the guys in Turkey. But if you do this for me, I'm going to guarantee you a one-way ticket to heaven. Guaranteed. We'll leave out one of the commandments, thou shalt not kill. You're okay with that. And on the way over, if you do a bit of sort of rape and pillage on the way, that's okay. As long as you get the infidels out. a lot of the, I'm not knocking the Catholic Church. There's quite a few of these. Catholic Church ran brothels at one stage. The Spanish Inquisition, that was great. That went on for 300 years. What the Catholic Church said was, if you're accused of being a witch, we'll torture you till you die. Unless you confess, then we'll kill you. That got rid of all the witches. They all had mistresses, children, and they changed directions according to, eat fish on a Friday? That's gone. Contraception? That's been changed. Gays? That's been changed. We change all the time. You change because you learn. Religions follow suit. One of the best ones, impure thoughts. It's a sin to have an impure thought. Anybody here never had an impure thought? And this last one, 20,000. That's horrible. That's sexual abuse of children. So, let's look at our world at the moment. And this is how bad it is. There's our Minister of Police up there. He got kicked out 10 years ago, but allowed him to come back. And then you got Syria. 800,000 dead so far. Because of this character, that long streak down there. He was only after money. He now runs the biggest drug company in the Middle East, making fentanyl, and makes $1 billion a month. But 800,000 dead, 8 million displaced, not serious. Then you get climate change, fake news. That's all over the place now. They'll ask you one question, and you page through 10 different things, so they can show you different adverts. But they're not ashamed of it. It's fake news. Everybody knows it. White area, apartheid. That's been going on for years. Japanese used to have Christians as slaves. Black tribes had black tribes as slaves. English had slaves. Lots of people had slaves. It's been going on for centuries. How can anybody think that somebody is so degradable or whatever that they can be a slave? That's unreal. Then you get Pfizer. Big pharmaceutical companies should all be shot. They take us a ride like you cannot believe. Pfizer is one very good example. They made 700 billion rand last year. But they paid 450 million in bribes and kickbacks to doctors and public to say the vaccination works. In the European Parliament 3 months ago, a guy stood up and said, here is the proof. Pfizer knew the vaccination didn't work 4 years ago. They registered the name Wuhan virus, COVID, 4 years ago. How did they get away with it? Simple, money. It's all about money. Every pharmaceutical company has been fined billions. And if you ever want to know a lot of you are on medication, go to drugs.com and just type in your medications. You see all the different side effects and all the different drugs that compete with one another. And they're horrible. The worst one at the moment is the opioid epidemic. That's killed thousands. The company that made the main one, they've just settled for 24 billion, I think. Something like that. And they're still carrying on trading. So, how do you get over all of this? It's simply be honest. If there were honesty around, none of this would happen. But how do we get back honesty? I came up with 2 weeks ago. Somebody came to me and said, I've got the most amazing product. It's going to change the world and how the world grows food and how it eats. And he showed me the product. I've had a look at it and I've tried it. I've tested it. It's absolutely amazing. It's simply a spray. You spray onto vegetables, plants, whatever. It's nanotechnology. It's a new way of doing things. It allows the plant to suck up more nutrients out of the ground. Doesn't need fertilizer. The plants grow bigger, better, faster. Twice the size. They were growing a field of maize. We got the results last week. 73% more yield from maize. Imagine how that's going to change how the world can grow food. There's a huge shortage at the moment. That's going to be mind-blowing. But I'll tell people, and they say, well, that's a bit too good to be true. Let me test it first. That's the world we're living in at the moment. Nobody trusts anybody else. Right. We can make it better. There's lots of ways of making it better, which Sharon is going to tell you. It doesn't take too much. Now, 100 years ago, I couldn't do a talk like this because this was taboo. In Victorian days, they had the first seances, and this was all very weird, and they talked to people beyond the veil and so on. Now, when we channel to people on the other side, they talk to us the same as I'm talking to you. We sit down and start talking. What are you going to teach tonight? What do you want to know? And off we go. You all believe in reincarnation, I take it? Anybody who doesn't? Good. Okay. The way forward is simple. You've got to experience to be able to believe. There's a lot of people here, I'm not in this room, a lot of people who understand spiritual life their way. They've had experiences their way. It's not always the right way because things change. We evolve. My mother was, well, my whole family's a bit weird. My mother was a Buddhist, then she became spiritual. My brother opened the church for Tibetan monks in England. My sister's a Mormon. So we had a lot of very good discussions. But what we used to discuss 40 years ago is totally different to now. Totally different. You think education is different. The kids coming down being born today are different. So what you need to do is meditate, talk to your guides, and start chatting. The new way is just to chat all the time because it's there. 5D, I think you call it here. We can talk to the other side. We do it all the time. You guys can do it all the time. And once you do that, your understanding of life changes, and that's the big thing. Aliens are fun. We've talked to maybe 100 different civilizations. We know how they're made, where they come from, and they've got a great sense of humor. And they enjoy coming to visit us, the same as we enjoy going to visit them. Now, that I know you're going to find hard to believe, but it won't be long before you'll be doing that. This is our website, Spiritual Dictionary. This is a commercial break. We've got 1,500 hours of channeling. If you don't know anything about spiritual life from beginning to end, everything we know is on there. Just go and help yourself. I'll be giving away 3 free life memberships to anybody who can answer questions in my store. Now, all you've got 6 questions. You just got to get 3 correct answers. You get a lifetime membership. Now, you've had all the answers. You've just got to remember them. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. Time is flying, right? I'll tell you one story. The best one. This is Button. A few years ago, I was healing people, and I was learning about women's problems. Realized I didn't know very much about it at all. So I helped get a few women pregnant. Okay. But this one girl came along. She had some problems. She wanted to get pregnant. And we did this healing and so on. And on the way home, this little spirit child came along and said, I'm going to be born to Sherry. So I quickly found Sherry and said, I've just spoken to your daughter. And just fascinating. First time it happened to me. Sure enough, a couple of weeks later, she was pregnant. Now, I talked to this girl all the way through the 9 months. And it was really amazing. She was like an excited 12-year-old. The minute they're born, they forget all of that because they come into an earthly vibe. So every week, backwards and forwards, how you doing, what you're up to, etc. When it came right to the end, the last day, I woke up in the middle of the night. I tuned in, and there's this girl on a wooden rocking horse. Got a crash helmet on, gauntlets, Lincoln boots, in the starting position. What's going on? And she said, back off. We got this. This is girl stuff. So I said, why the welly boots? She said, it's going to get messy. And there's lots of other things, but we're running out of time. The spirit have a great sense of humor. They come through and they chat all the time about funny things. And if we do have really heavy work to do, they brighten our lives up. Okay, now Sharon's going to do the second half, and she's going to tell you the good side, how things are changing, what we're changing into. And then we'll do a few questions after that.
Hello. Hello, beautiful beings. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I work mostly with energies, so I'm going to explain about energies, a little bit about how the world's going to change, but mostly about how you can help. Because everyone's aware that something needs to happen, but no one knows what to do. So it's going to be leading you into that. And as you help the planet or other people, so you help yourself. So it's going to make it easier for you, easier for everyone. So let's start with how a medium works. First of all, why does a medium cross the road? To talk to the other side, okay? So mediums, if you think of someone, everyone here can relate to this. If you think of someone and they phone, or you're sitting next to someone, they talk about something and you go, I was just thinking about that. Or you get the energy that you don't want to go somewhere, you don't want to, or you do want to go somewhere, or you don't want to be somewhere, and then something happens and you think, I knew that was going to happen. Okay? We are infinite, receiving, perceiving, sensing beings. All the time, you are picking up energies all the time from other people, from spaces beyond what you can actually imagine possible, because you can think of someone and they phone you and they're overseas. Okay, we are interconnected, dimensional, interconnected beings, and we are all connected, whether you like it or not. Okay, all the energies are connected. Energy is the first. This is where I'm going to remember to click. So if we're picking up thoughts, feelings, and emotions all the time, how many are actually yours? Just something to become aware of. This is another word for it, is your intuition. You know that you know that you know, but you don't know how you know, but you knew you know. Okay, your energy. We are in this physical reality. We need this body. Okay, but your energy is bigger than your body. You are not an energy inside a body. You are a body inside an energy. So you actually enter the space of a room before your body. When my child was 1 day old, you've seen this thing, he pops out, you've seen him once. Okay. Now you walk into a room and there's rows of babies and you think, oh my God. Okay, some are not definitely yours, and the others, I don't want to walk along reading the labels. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no one there. And suddenly from the other side of the room, I get this grunting noise. So I think, okay, I'm just going to wing it. Close my eyes. I walk all the way to the end. I quickly read the label, and it's him. I've walked into the room. He's 1 day old, and he's grunted from the other side of the room and called me. Okay. Energy is the first language. Children don't need language to play. They just play. It's all energy. Everything is energy. And energy can be louder than words. Okay. We choose this reality. You have chosen to be here. In fact, right now, right here, you have chosen it. You choose your family. You choose your lessons. You choose your name. You choose everything. It's all on you. Okay. So it's about taking responsibility and acknowledging that you actually chose to be here. I've already covered that. It's bigger than your body. Okay. And then with energy, we can fake a look. You can fake a word. You can fake absolutely anything, but you cannot fake energy. You cannot fake a vibe. Someone can be speaking to you and saying one thing, and you can be sensing a whole different ballgame. And that comes to lying and manipulation, etc. as well. But you can pick it up. Okay, you're sensory being, and you know that you know that you know what you know. So there's 4 main ways that we can connect with spirits. One is clairaudience, where you hear things messages, songs, all sorts of audio things, okay? The other, I remember sitting on my mom's bed once, and I was little. She was getting dressed for work, and I was like, I'm just going to turn the side radio off. You know, there's old radios that played music. And she looks at me, she says, not plugged in. So, yeah. So there's clairaudience, clairvoyance, where you're seeing. So it's pictures, images, visions. It's also our visual creator, a major one. But that's where you're seeing things. And then your inner knowingness, that's you knowing that you know that you know that you know that you know. Okay. And then your psychometry, or your energy, or your healing, or your sensing. And that is the most important one that I'm going to cover today, because that is the one you'll find that you're probably more, you find one easier than the other. Okay. And some you might find two. But we actually can all do them all. But the sensing one is what we all need to go back to, and all need to work on. That's the most vital one. Because that's who you are. Okay, a sensory being. But we've been programmed into being the human in this reality, and with form, structure, and control. So, in this reality, we have, on this beautiful planet of ours, we have been given thoughts, okay? Not all of them the greatest, that we use them to our greatest advantage. And we think 65,000 of them a day. We have the thoughts, then create your emotions, and there isn't one emotion that you have not felt. You've experienced them all. You can relate to them all. No one's immune to emotions. Your thoughts create your emotions. And then you've got polarity, you've got extremes. And at the moment, we are sitting with an 80% negative extreme with 20% positive. I mean, literally, when something good happens or someone does something good, you go, wow, that's amazing. It's on social media. It's like they're praised. That should be the freaking norm. Okay? It's when someone does something bad. That's when it should be recognized. And that's what will change. That's what will change. And it takes us to help with the change, although I'll explain how other forms are helping as well. But we need to get it back to 80% positive, 20% negative. You will always have the negative. We live in a world of polarity. Okay, so the negative is there to show you the positive. And then we have choice, which we'll go on to just now. Nobody is immune to issues. Nobody is not going to think. We are all in the same storm. We're not riding the same boats. Some are on yachts, some are on cruise ships, but some are drowning. But no one wears these little labels on here saying, my mom's just died, I've got no money, I've got no food, I can't feed my kid. No one's walking around with labels on their head. So you have to understand that every single person is going through stuff, and then connect with them, tap into their space, tap into their worlds. Don't judge them, criticize them, knock them. Man, we've been through a hectic time ourselves, and I've been knocked by so many people, and I just look at them and I just go, you're supposed to be a healer, It's you can't knock and criticize people. You think that everything's okay. People don't fake depression. They fake being okay. Everyone's got these masks on constantly. We have to take our masks off. We are beautiful, beautiful beings. We have to be there for each other. So what if we had to start looking at people as energy instead of looks? Sensing more, when you just like meet someone and you're just so drawn to them, or you meet another person and you're just like, ew, and you don't want to go near them. Okay, these stinky thoughts. And do we analyze things? We make everything so meaningful. We give it so much attention, so much energy. It's just making it bigger and bigger and bigger and giving it more energy, and it disconnects you from your sense. because we don't stop these 65,000 thoughts going through our head all the time. We've developed these overactive minds which are disconnecting us. Your brain is literally rewiring every day. It's listening to you, whether it's negative or positive, it just listens to you. So if you moan and you groan and you whine and you, oh my God, you won't want to believe what happened to me, and that's the brain. We'll give you more of that. We'll create that, and we'll look for things to reflect that back to you in your world. But if you look for optimism, and if you look for possibilities, and you look for all the positive things, that's what the brain then looks for and brings into your world. Your brain cannot subtract or divide. It can only add and multiply. So what you think of is what you're going to create. And it just adds. If I told you not to think of 9 brown monkeys swinging around, that's all you're going to be able to think of. You can't stop it. Okay, you just have to manipulate it, change it. Okay. And if you live by the 5 by 5, if something's not going to mean something to you in 5 years' time, why on earth would you give it more than 5 minutes of your today? That. Your sensing, your ability to sense things is your most powerful tool that you will have in this reality. You will be naturally drawn to people. You'll be naturally drawn to places. When you go to the dentist's room, you work with that. You don't go into the dentist's room, look for a chair and analyze each person. You walk in, no one looks at anyone. You walk in and you look down and you go, oh, okay, I'm drawn to this person. And then you just sit and no one even talks. It's like all just energy, and it's interesting. The other thing we do is we look externally to ourselves for everything. Everything. Love, romance, peace, every single thing. We walk around trying to look for scraps of energy. Have you got any love for me? Who else can love me? It's all inside you. I've heard people that in relationships, oh, my husband's not romantic. He's not ever going to be romantic. So if you want romance, be romantic. You trick the brain realizes, oh, in order to give it, I must have it. Wow. So I can stop seeking externally because I have it already in me. Okay. And plus you get filled with romance. Wow. Win-win. So we need to start realizing that we have everything inside us, and stop seeking externally from other people. Plus, when you give something out to someone, what happens to energy when you give it out? Thoughts, feelings, and emotions, everything you send out comes echoing or magnetizing, however you want to think of it, back to you tenfold. Because you've wired your brain for it, and you've sent it goes out like a radio wave. Okay, it reaches probably dimensions. Okay, when you think something, you've actually created it. You just can't perceive it. That's how powerful your mind is. So, what the energy that flows out, it flows back. First of all, the brain registers it, and then it flows back tenfold to you. And that is basically how energy functions. So no matter what you do, no matter what you think, no matter what, that is how energy functions. What you give out will come back to you tenfold. End of story. You can't stop it. You can't control it. And then we have choices. 3,500 choices plus minus a day. Okay, and we are influenced by social media, friends, parents, teachers, gurus, whatever. Gurus are normally good. But you are influenced by so many people in the choices that you make. But the most important is you look at choices like relationships. How many people here have chosen a relationship that wasn't based on the car that they drove, the money that they had, the status that they had? How many people here chose a relationship not because someone told them, you mustn't marry them, or I'm too old, or I'm too, no one else will ever love me, or who here chose a relationship based on the person that made them feel the most special, happy, the most incredible, just made you feel more of you, greatest contribution to you? 90% of people don't do that. They don't. And then you wonder 10 years down the line, because you've chosen this challenge, because you know you can make it work, because you know you're so potent and powerful, because you are. You're unstoppable, dudes. Okay. And I'm so powerful because I know I can change them. I did it. And I asked them, energetically, when did you leave the relationship? It's before they were freaking married. Energetically. But then they thought, no, we'll get married because I know I can make this work because I'm so potent, and I do it, and I do it. It doesn't work. And then I go, oh, okay. I'll find something else to do, And because we are unstoppable. You don't stop. We're always taking the challenge on and on and on and on. I know because I did it. Okay. So what if we had to choose our jobs as well? The jobs based on money. Or you have to wake up every single day of your life and do this. Put all your energy into this one thing. Why on earth wouldn't you be doing something you freaking enjoy every single day of your life? So it's choosing jobs for money or jobs for status, or that's the same thing. What if we had to choose everything just because it made us happy? What if we had to choose the food we eat, the clothes we wear, everything just because it makes us happy? Wouldn't we be happier? Yay! And then what would that do? Great! We'd stop looking outside for everything because it would just be freaking happy. Okay. Nature. Animals make sounds. It radiates that energy out. Okay. Sound, fun fact, sound creates vibration. Energy, all energy has sound. Can't always hear it. We can't hear it. But that was quite an interesting fact. Your dogs are just pure freaking love. They just walk through the house, moving the energy, spreading love everywhere. You can lock it in the car for 6 hours, open the door, they're just happy. They just love, pure love. Cats are like walking crystals, and they're balancers, and they're like walking crystals, but they will literally sit in an area and clear negativity. And their purring has a vibrational healing effect as well. So stick them on your heart chakra and make them purr, you're good. Okay. Whales, they communicate for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And they have a huge impact on the consciousness of the earth. Massive, massive impact. And their communication affects 70% of all living things. So they have and it's nearly whale season. Yay. And the ocean is like a musical orchestra. The birds chirping. Oh, and by the way, the birds wake up, and if there's been a storm, the birds wake up. They don't bitch and moan because their nest is gone. They wake up and they still chirp. Okay, so we are all interconnected with nature. Basically, nature is living to its fullest potential. Okay, the birds chirp, storm happens, they just live. Animals, they heal faster because they don't have points of views. Okay, animals just live in the now. Nature lives in the now. We're the only dimwits that go into our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and it's like, it's all about me, and separate ourselves and don't live to our fullest potential. So each living thing works towards basically the ecological balance of the earth, except for humans. So, in Japan, they have a forest. They use forest work to help with anxiety and depression. So, nature balances us, and they actually do forest healing. We all resonate on the same vibrational level. That's why when you go camping for a week, it's up to 3 days, you're like, oh, this is the life, you just start to relax. But when you get there, you're all wired up, and you're like, when you get home, you're just like a little sloth. It's like, that was so cool, because nature's just balanced you, energized you, but balanced you and energized you in a different way. Farm animals that know that they are going to be slaughtered, the energy is being built up, that now there's no joy in their world anymore. The energy is just there. It's dormant, dead energy. Then this animal goes off to be slaughtered, and then we eat it. Okay. And that energy is in the meat. So what's going to happen is the planet is going to go back to more plant eating. Okay? And that's going to be self-sustainability, and we've got the sprays, okay, I'm jumping ahead. I'll stay here for now. Yeah. That's the plant-based diet. The planet will go more that way. And then energy. Energy radiates out. Every thought you think, every word you say, every action you do, it creates energy, and it radiates out. Okay? And it builds up, and it builds up, and it builds up. Especially if you think the same thing over and over and over and over again, it builds up. We're normally so addicted to drama, and trauma is like, oh my God, heavy. What, all these thoughts, feelings, and emotions about everything. And it activates the vibration, and it sends it out there. If you realized how potent your thoughts were, you wouldn't even want to think again. But if you impact one person out there, you impact one person, you impact everyone in their reality for their life. That's how potent you are. Okay. So we're all living things are connected to the same vibrational level. We separate ourselves. And basically the emotional state, our emotional state, because we're all on the same vibrational level, our emotional state is picked up and reacted to by all living things on the planet, whether you like it or not. So if you hear something negative, it's about not going into the drama and the trauma of it and feeding that energy and building it up. It's about learning to send positive energy, which we're going to do at the end of today, if I'm given time. Then we've got group energies. Group energies, so you go into a bar and you sit there and you choose a bit like the dentist, like which seat feels more comfortable, no one's looking, I'm on my own. It's like, you walk into the bar with a friend, you're like, you can kind of sit anywhere because you got your bed. And if you walk in the bar with a whole bunch of friends, you freaking own the bar. Okay? You're unstoppable. It's just like, everybody move, we're coming. The energy builds up, and it gets stronger together. It builds up. So, and then you have this group energy where you think you are so right. You've got this group belief. Okay. Anyone else that comes and argues with that belief, you're like, hell, and you build up these walls and barriers to resist that. But the more you resist it, the more energy you actually give it, and the more energy you're creating. If you could just be, put your barriers down and just be, and focus on your own transformation, growth, evolution, evolvement, whatever, own energy, rather than worrying so much about what everyone else's energy was. It'd be a much happier being. So it's about feeding your energy with what works for you. The books you read, the programs you watch, the people that you spend time with. And why on earth would you just choose to sit every day or sit in a space that lowers, makes you feel like your value is lower than it is? Just choose where you spend your time. choose who you spend your time with, and choose those things that are going to raise your energy, that make you feel good, that make you feel happy. So awakening is not the awareness of this reality. Awakening is actually the awareness of your higher consciousness, that you are a part of the whole thing, of everything, but it's about your higher consciousness. So everyone here is no different. We all, if you go back to the baby room of babies, no one's different. No baby is different. Okay, luckily they all got 10 fingers, 10 toes. But generally, we are programmed. A belief system. You choose parents. Those parents got a belief system. We're programmed. You go to certain schools, programmed by the teachers. We're program. It just builds up. Okay. So this creates beliefs. It goes to beliefs. Beliefs are held very true by people, but a belief is just a steady, chronic transmission of energy. You think it over. You make it so real. People die for what they believe. Okay? It is a strong energy. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It consciously instructs the unconscious mind, which, by the way, makes 98% of the decisions for you, to find evidence to actually support it. But there's no truth behind it. There's just your values, what you believe. And it's just a thought. Okay. I'm going to stay on that sooner. And it's also the opposite of your knowingness, which is your sensing. If you believe something so strongly, how can you sense anything? Whether it's heavy, expansive, light, contracted, you can't. Because that's it. It's solid energy. Okay. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Air, water, food, shelter, personal security. Nowhere in there's money. Okay, money is right at the top of ours. It's man-made creation that has made everything. You cannot survive without money. Yet it's not even in Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs. Okay? We have made it so important, the most important thing on the planet. That's where the problem lies, because it's the ego, power, greed, control, all of that. We cannot survive without it. So everyone wakes up in the morning with a struggle. We struggle because we make money, and we're chasing everything. We need the car, we need the home, it's the pressure, and we're chasing it. So we need a better job because I need more money, because I need this. So it's a constant chase. And the energy builds up because it's all you can focus on, because you need to make the money, because and it just goes round and round and round, and it carries on. So, and then we think that everything's going to be okay when you've got the next car or the next house, but it's short-lived. It's like a hamster wheel. It's short-lived. You're happy for a while, but then you got to, go on and on and on and find something else. The only sustainable thing is you finding you and knowing that you have everything that you actually need. And it's funny because it takes being taken down to your knees to actually, again, experiencing it, to actually look at your values, and your whole value system changes. To have food on your plate, to have a roof over your head, and to humanity. And you will not tolerate inauthenticity. And you can see it. Once you've been down, you can see it. You can perceive it. You can sense it way more. But unfortunately, if we all have to be taken down, that's what will happen. Because if we'll have to go through what we go through in order to change this planet. So the ironic thing is we spend most of our life in fear. Fear of the future, fear of the past. But if we let go of the one. So imagine one thing, everything you want. Think of it, everything you want, everything you can imagine and can't imagine. You want. Everything you want, you've got it. Imagine you've got everything that you want. Okay, what do you want now? That's you. Okay, it's that simple. The want creates struggle, creates pressure, creates heavy energy. It creates challenge. So it's sticky. And we end up making it all about ourselves, which is fear-based, which is not even real, because fear is false evidence appearing real. So that's a bit insane as well. So you can focus on money, we focus on reality. 7 billion people on the planet need to change their mindset, their conversation about money being the priority in life. It is not, it's about waking up happy. It's about how you feel. It's about being happy. And now, just babbled all that. Nice picture though. The now is all there is. Okay, we live in the past, we dabble in the past, it just creates sadness and depression. We obsess with the future, and we worry and stress about the future, and that just creates anxiety. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. Only now exists. Everything else that you're doing is working with your memory or your imagination. That's it. Only now exists right here and right now. And the other thing is time and energy. Fundamentally, this is all the planet works off. Time and energy. Time is man-made, yes. Okay. And energy. So it's man-made, but it's constant. Whether you're eating, sleeping, sad, happy, joyful, bawling your eyes out, time does not stop. It's constant and it's relevant. If you're in a business meeting that's going on and on and on, it's like so. And if you're on a holiday having a ball, it's like, oh my God, where'd the day go? I was like, it's all relevant to your personal subjective experience, as is everything in life, just by the by. But so your priority should be basically to manage your energy. That should be your basic priority. Now is the only time. Okay. We think we have time, but time is limited on this planet. If anyone has lost somebody or gone to hospice or whatever, they would know. Time is limited. Yet still in life, we go to these thoughts, feelings, emotions. We make everything mean so much. We focus all our energy on that instead of living consciously, being the contribution we can be with the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are going to be proactive. So we are self-healing magical beings. Our body is the biggest chemical factory we have. Every thought, feeling, emotion affects the cells, tissues, and organs of your body. Okay, every word you say. If your name is Deborah, and I call you Debbie, and you don't like it, I can muscle test. Deborah, you'll be strong. Debbie, your whole muscle, it changes your physiology. It's energy. Now, if your energy can change your physical body so much, okay, well, what else is it possible? And how much is it radiating out there, and how much of an effect is it having beyond your physical body? 7 to 10 years it takes for your body to self-heal itself, to transform itself, given the chance. And then we take pharmaceuticals, which to balance our bodies, which just suppress everything, okay, and cause more imbalances. Energy is more powerful than anything else, and that's what will happen in the future. In the future, if you have a broken bone, you will have a group of people around, and the energy it won't be instant, but it'll be 3 to 5 days, and the group energy will be working on the broken bone, and that will heal the broken bone. Okay, it's powerful. We're like a walking light bulbs. There you go. Okay, at rest, 100 watts. That's what we produce. 300 to 400 watts over time, just being here, just like that. We're 300 to 400 watts, just sitting here, being, okay. And sprinting for 2,000 watts. Okay, we have energy, and we can use that to the greatest potential. Back to honesty. Again, we've discussed this. We're influenced by media, scams, con artists, all sorts. That truth we've discussed, being authentic with yourself. True authenticity with yourself. Authenticity and truth are linked to consciousness directly. Okay, it's a direct link. So if you tell the truth, you actually, you're moving the energy to the past and you're moving on. If you tell a lie, you are sending it, you're moving the energy to the future because you have to maintain that lie. So it's a futuristic energy. I can't speak. Okay, what do you think clears negativity? Okay, don't need that one. Nature. All us humans with our thoughts, feelings, emotions, those thoughts have to go somewhere. And nature is the one cleansing all the negative energy, all the disruption and all the chaos that is in this world. And that's why we are going to have natural disasters. And it is nature's way of slapping us and saying, you know what? Catch a wake up. And there's going to be more and more and more and more until we do wake up. Yeah. And eventually it's going to be, so the negative energy goes up and these disasters come down to clear all the energy. Eventually when it's 80-20, 80% positive, 20% negative, imagine what the weather will be like. Perfect. Because everything will be calmer, the extremes will be less, because there's not going to be so much negativity, anger, hate, rage, fury, all the distractor implants that stop us from being us, because everyone will be happier. Wow. Which is what we want. Yeah. Okay. So that is the future. That is the future, which is exciting. We will want to come back. Okay. So, basically, the universe is trying lots of planets, lots of ways, lots of dimensions, lots of all sorts, okay, to see what works best. We're all learning, growing, and evolving together. So we're all connected, okay? The spirits are connecting with us to help us because we have free will. They can't do anything. They can't impact planet Earth without us. So they work through us to help the planet. So spirits are helping. The kids born now, born with technology, yes, I have one. Oh my God, they're like scream if you detach them from them, okay? But they are going to use technology not for power, greed, control, and money. They are going to use technology to help the planet, help the oceans, and help humanity, create jobs. And they're going to use it a different way. They are more aware. My child is 14 now. The whole youth was panicking about, Mom, where's all the rubbish going on the planet? Where's all the rubbish going on the planet? There's not enough, there's too much rubbish. His friends were panicking, there's not enough water on the planet. These kids were born with more awareness than we were, okay? The next generation is going to be born with this greater understanding because they're going to be these kids. I mean, these kids talk differently. I'm like, where did you come from? They're bright, they're aware. And then their kids are going to be born with this greater understanding. So the kids, the energies, the spirits, everyone are trying to help the planet. The only other option is we get taken down by a meteor and just like wiped out and we start again. And do you really want to do that? And then, yeah, so, can we just like help a little bit? And then, so if we think we've got lessons to learn in order to get to God, no, you are a part of the whole system. You are it. Tag, you're it. Okay. End of story. So it's about participating in life and not analyzing everything and making it so meaningful and paying all the energy, leaking your energy, but using your energy to the greatest potential. What legacy do you want to leave behind? When someone passes away, you don't think about the car they drove, the clothes they wore. You think about how they made you feel. So that's what you be. I think I'm just babbling, and I think I haven't. I often forget to click. Sorry. Heaven basically is a place on earth we need to make, not seek. Again, seeking externally. Nah. Okay. So we can ignore reality. We are at the beginning of a collective consciousness, and I know that it's not easy. And I know there's going to be rascals that come down and still make you feel so irritated because you just can't, but you can't feed them your energy. You can't give your power away. You have to ignore reality and give your full undivided attention to how you feel. Why would you want to give them your power? Yes, they did that. Okay, so awesome. And then I'm going to give, if I've got time, a little mini visualization to give you an example of, instead of focusing on the reality, to focus on creating. Every morning, waking up and smothering the earth in love is one example. Even if you just do that, that changes your energy. It ripples out there. It's more potent than you can actually believe. Yeah. So don't care about what you don't need to care about. Don't analyze anything. Your peace is not worth it. Don't over-analyze, make everything meaningful. The same level of thinking that created the problem won't change the problem or solve the problem. We're all born with nothing. We all leave with nothing. But in the meantime, in that whole spectrum in between, we make everything mean so much. But it's not about having, wanting. That's the chase. Okay. I'm sure I'm meant to have pushed this 1,000 times. There you go. Do you read? So I know it's not easy, but it's inevitable, the change. And also we worry so much about what we're going to lose in these things. What about creating something better? What about if it's better, if it's more? And what about if we all used our minds to create that energy? So basically, we are here to serve each other. If you knew each other's names and whatever, I gave you a bunch of red balloons now, and I said, write your name on it, okay, and bounce it around the room. And then go and find your own balloon. It would take you ages. But if I said the same thing, and bounced it around the room, and I said, now pick up the nearest balloon and give it to the person that it belongs to, much faster. Okay, that's serving each other. It's quick, it's easy, it's serving each other, and it's time. Okay, we need to stop separating ourselves. Babble. The old way is collapsing, and we are one. The state of being oneness is the universe's basic nature is love. When we live consciously, recognizing the divine in ourselves and all living things, we are in alignment with the one that connects all. And when we raise our vibrational level to the space and place of interconnectedness, we awaken ourselves to conscious reality and not only change the way we experience the world, but how we are in it and the impact that we make with every thought, feeling, emotion, and action. And if you are wanting to, I can take you through 2 examples of how you can change. So if you hear about an earthquake, normally people go like, oh my God, it was an earthquake. It's like this poor people. And that's the energy that radiates out. So if you think of an earthquake, we hear an earthquake happening. What about sending the energy that you would like to receive if you were a survivor of that earthquake, or to those that lost people, whatever? And if you don't know what to send, just all the energy required, just send it up with love, light, consciousness, and just send positive energy, because that creates, and the guides can use that energy. Okay? Just to sit there in the drama and trauma of it takes you way down again. So if you want to start, if you just want to be aware of something, so KZN, okay, we know we haven't got the DA, we haven't got this, and we haven't got that. And so, but if you had to picture the state of South Africa, okay, and just close your eyes for a moment. It's just a short visualization, just to create a different energy. If you had to, for a moment, just collectively, I'd like you to picture an energy of a person or an energy coming to take over the leadership of the country. It's a new energy. It's a vibrant energy. Yeah. With a good heart, with consciousness, okay, and new understandings. picture his energy radiating out and affecting everyone around him. And as that happens, the energy vibrates back to him and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it grows more and more and more. And as this ripple effect radiates out further and further and further, affecting more and more people in the most positive, beautiful way, so the energy gets bigger and bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger and more and more. Until South Africa is radiating with this positive, beautiful, vibrant energy and light. Thank you. That's it. What if you had to start every morning like that? Huh? What would that create? Okay. It's just an example of rather than waking up and facing that reality, and that's might be ordinary, and facing that reality, and I think I've finished babbling. I thank each and every one of you for your time, space, energy, consciousness, everything that you've given.